Good afternoon, and thank you for coming. As you know, over the course of the weekend and in the days prior, there were a number of tragic incidents that occurred. We know that the media and the members of the community are following these cases closely. Mayor Frank Jackson, Police Chief Calvin Williams, and Deputy Chief Edward Tombo will provide remarks and updates on some of these cases. To start, Mayor Jackson.
Well, as Detective Chach said, there have been some cases this weekend and really throughout the year around violence and some homicides. And recently, they've included children. And over this weekend, there was another child injured. And we know that both you and the public have an interest, and we want to really thank the public. They have stepped up big time. And as a result of the information that they've given us, we've been able to move on these cases much faster than we would have, but if we didn't have the information they provided. So we want to thank the public, thank them for their cooperation, for the information that they've given, and to let them know that it's not over, that we still need their participation and help. The chief will give you, as the detective said, the chief will give you another overview, and then the specifics will come from Deputy Chief Tombo. Chief.
Thanks, Mayor. Again, you know, it's been a tough year for the city of Cleveland as far as violent crime. Recently, it's been even tougher with the death of little Ramon and little Major, and we definitely continue to send our condolences out to their families and the families of all the victims in the city that have experienced losses. We have been working tirelessly all year to bring these tragic events to a conclusion, to make sure that the people responsible are brought to justice. Our investigators have worked hard, and I'd like to thank them. And as the mayor stated, our community has come out in the last few weeks, over the last couple of months, and they've really assisted in our investigators doing their jobs and bringing conclusion to these events. So I'd definitely like to thank them again also. We've also received help from our federal partners, one of which is here today, ATF. ATF SAC down Serrano is here. Our partners from the FBI, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, they've committed resources as far as personnel and other resources that will help our investigators in bringing these, again, these tragic events to a justifiable and just conclusion. So I'd like to thank them. Deputy Chief Tombo is going to talk a little bit about some of the more recent events that have happened and the results of those. I'll bring him up in just a second. But I just want to let the public know that we're on this, that we are dedicating all the resources at our disposal to make sure that the people responsible for these things are caught. As recently as today, a person of interest, and as recently as yesterday, arrest warrants have been issued for people that are involved in these crimes. So the public needs to know that we're out there, we're on this, but we still need their help. There's still a lot of work to be done and a lot of loose ends to tie up, a lot of pieces of the puzzle still to put together. So we ask that anybody that has information on any of these crimes or others that have been committed in the city, please give our homicide unit a call, or if you choose to, you can call Crime Stoppers at 25-CRIME. Our homicide unit number is 623-5464, or the Crime Stoppers line at 25-CRIME. Now I'm going to bring up Deputy Chief Ed Tombo, and he'll answer some questions that you may have as far as the specifics in some of these cases. Ed?
Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Mayor. A little overview on some of the cases, and then we'll entertain a few questions if you have them. Andre Carr from 1473 East 116th Street. Officers of the Division of Police responded for calls for shots fired at about 3:15 in the morning. The victim was found laying under a Jeep. Several pieces of evidence were located, and his vehicle was being processed at this time at the medical examiner's office. The second case, Jerry Rembert and Morgan Nitzel, 937 East 140th Street. The officers responded, found two victims deceased off 140th and Nell. It seems like there was some type of family issue that was going on there, and the detectives continue to investigate that case. Dante Paget Sr., Martin Luther King Boulevard and Shaker Boulevard, along with Dante Paget Jr. The young man is still confined at Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital for a gunshot wound to the shoulder. Multiple pieces of evidence have been recovered from that scene, being processed at this time, along with the detectives are attempting to locate any video from video surveillance cameras that were in the area. Ramon Burnett, the 5-year-old victim, we've recovered 2 weapons. We've recovered a vehicle. We have 2 people under arrest. We have 2 people that have already been indicted, and we anticipate more arrests to be forthcoming during the week. Lastly, the Major Howard case. We have received information from people in the community that led us to information to interview a few people, and we conducted those interviews in our homicide unit. With that information, we went to the county prosecutor's office, and we obtained an arrest warrant for this gentleman right here. This is Donnell Lindsay, and he is currently not in our custody, but he is wanted for questioning in connection with the murder of Major Howard. So this male is being sought by members of the Division of Police. He should be considered armed and dangerous. And we would ask that the public and the media, if any, could provide us any help with locating this male. That's it on the updates. I'll take a few questions if I can answer them, or the chief, feel free. Tracy?
Ken, are these random, or is there some connection to each one of these? Should people be concerned?
Well, as far as connection to all the cases, no, they seem to be obviously separate cases. We have some information that some of the victims may have been involved in, some type of narcotics trafficking. The other case on 140th may be a family issue. I don't think there's any one issue that connects all of them, but each one of them, there was obviously access to a weapon, and there was violence associated with that.
Any gang affiliation? You mentioned drugs, possibly, but is there?
Well, Kevin, we do, as you know, Chief Williams has dedicated additional resources to our street gang enforcement squad about 30 days ago. So we are looking at that. We actually have stepped up our enforcement efforts, and our gang squads are working around the clock along with the ATF, the FBI, and with our other partners. So we are trying to identify to see if there is any type of structured gang affiliation, and we are being assisted by members of the county prosecutor's office also.
Any sense as to why now? Why so many? This rash?
No, no, not really. I mean, if we had that answer, we ask that question amongst each other all the time. Why? But it's just it seems like it's something that's going on in society, not unique to the city of Cleveland, but as you know, our main concern is the residents of the city of Cleveland here. But no, I think it's just, the accessibility to guns and, no nonsense feeling that some of these young people have that, they can fire that gun without a consequence. And that's our job, is to figure out what happened and hold them accountable.
Can you give us a little biography of Lindsay, how you got to him, his background, what you can share?
Well, I mean, how we got to him was actually from, we were doing neighborhood canvases. We had some information that wasn't very, very solid, and then we did receive some information from people in the community, and pointed us in a direction of some people that we should interview. Obviously, I don't want to get real specific because these are people providing us information about an active homicide investigation. So what we do is we take that information, obviously we document it, we see if it fits with any of the other information we have, and then we go see a prosecutor. And it's up to them to determine if we've established enough probable cause, which they have, and then we went to a judge and we got this arrest warrant issued.
Can you talk about
So-
Robert Rembert's arrest at all in the dining room? The one that was found today at the car?
Yeah, that arrest, Robert Rembert, he was arrested for another crime within the city of Cleveland. And obviously with his relationship and his possible connection to one of our victims on 140th, he is somebody that we are going to definitely speak with regarding these cases. Yep.
Can I ask Mayor Jackson a question?
Sure.
real quick? I just wanted to know what additional resources, the police department said that all their resources are going towards it, but what additional resources do you think they need? I know there's a proposal to open up the rainy day fund. What do you think?
I think that's political, for one, but they get everything they need to be effective. As the chief just mentioned, that 30 days ago,
Yes.
put on another gang unit. So we redeploy what we have and redirect resources in order to address whatever is before us. So they make requests and we fulfill the requests.
Is it enough, though, given the violence? of
It's never enough. It's never enough. You know, I can say to you that I would love to have more resources if I had not lost tens of millions of dollars in state funding, which would have given me the ability to have a capacity to add on more police officers, to do other things I like to do. But based on the situation we have and the resources we have, then we deploy accordingly. And that which we have, we make great use of it, and it's very effective. As we just mentioned, some of these homicides that occurred this weekend, particularly with the children, have been solved very quickly. And we're on the verge of solving a few more. That would not help. I mean, that would not happen without the support of the people, without them working with us. So just having resources is nice to have, but it's not going to solve the problem. This is a much deeper thing. And the community has demonstrated in this particular situation that they're fed up and that, let me put it this way. The people who engage in the street life and commit crimes do not have the right to take innocence. And that's what we have said, and that is what the community has said. I can't pay for that. I can go to the rainy day fund and empty it. I could not purchase that. State could give me tens of millions of dollars they took and give it back. I could not pay for that. So what we have said and what the community has said, that you do not have a right to take innocence. And as a result of that, we have resolved these crimes. All right?
So you mentioned politics just a bit ago. And pardon this pun, but do you see this latest spate of shootings as additional ammunition to go back to Columbus and say, I told you that these kind of things would happen, but you've got to stop my gun control legislation?
Yeah, and based on what? My point is, what else could I go back to them and say? You know, I could go back and say that I would like at least half of the tens of millions of dollars that you took. I would like to go back and say when they passed very relaxed gun laws and made us on a local community unable to enforce responsible gun ownership. And we said at that press conference that we didn't know when or where, but we knew somebody would die as a result of that. Now, you know, what impact that makes on them, I don't know. But, you know, you raising that question and asking them that question, I think would be very helpful because we already have an answer to it, that we need to have responsible gun ownership. We need to have people who are not allowed to have guns be held accountable, and we need to have the ability to pay for those services that we like to pay for, not just in safety, but in recreation. You know, when you're looking at young people and how do you prevent young people from getting into the life, what are those things that you can do on a preventive side? We'd like to have the resources to do that. All these kinds of things, rather than just believing that if you put another dollar into the division of police, that all of a sudden your problem's going to go away. It's not.
Does that imply an answer to the fact that the Justice Department...
No, which ones? Talk.
Justice Department just announced today that they're giving you a few more police resources there. Does that...
Well, it'd been nice if they'd have told me. I just learned about it 10 minutes ago. But I, of course, you know, I'll take the money. I just have to figure out what strings are attached to it. I just learned it at about 10 minutes before I came in here. So I can't really comment on that other than that.
Does anybody have any more questions just
Yes,
specific to the
could somebody
case?
address the role that having a first aid kit in the police officer's car on Saturday, I believe it was, helped police officers help
You
that
talking to
10
me or the chief?
Maybe the chief.
Chief.
How police officers were more able to help that 10-year-old little boy because now they have first aid kits in their cars.
Right. I mean, it's probably a misconception that our officers don't render first aid to people, even before we deployed first aid kits. But it was definitely a factor in this case with a 10-year-old on that scene. The officers did what they were trained to do, and I'd like to think that what the officers did actually aided in saving that child's life. But again, you know, our officers do those things every day, whether they have a first aid kit or not.
Will they all have first aid kits by the end of the year, you suspect?
Yes, they will.
But not everybody is equipped just yet.
No, we're in the process of doing that now, but we're almost to equipping every zone car in the city of Cleveland with a first aid kit.
Do you know the condition of the boy? Do you know the condition of the 10-year-old?
We don't have that info to give out right now. He's still confined at the University Hospitals.
Okay, that's going to be it for
Chief,
today.
one last question if I can.
Thanks.
These additional federal dollars that we're getting today, do you have any sense of where you'd like to put it? I know we're just learning about it, but if you had your magic wand, where would you put these 15
Well,
or so?
again, as the mayor stated, you know, those federal dollars come with stipulations, and until we can see those, it's hard to say where we would like them to go.
So we're not at
Thank
the phase
you.
of accepting it
No,
yet?
we don't know it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.